ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Walking with J.Beau. As you can see, we had snow last night. But it warmed up to 32 degrees. I think it's more like 34. Similar to our last walk. Going to do about 6 miles today. It's February 2nd. This being my first walk of February. We did 6 walks in January. We will have selfie cam today. It's not windy, it's quite calm, it's warm enough. Had to clean snow earlier. Which will make it feel so much better when spring gets here. That's still a little ways off. That damn groundhog in Pennsylvania, Punxsutawney Phil, and Gobbler's Knob says we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter. So needless to say, I don't like that little SOB. So we're going to go down this way. See, sidewalks are still covered. Haven't cleaned the sidewalks yet, so might be a little tough treading today here and there, but I'm willing to go. So I hope you had a good weekend. Groundhog Day being on Sunday, yesterday. So breaking news today, breaking news. Mexico has agreed to avoid being tariffed by agreeing to supply 10,000 troops on the border. So in light of that, President Trump has held off on the tariffs he imposed on Mexico, which is the art of the deal. That's exactly what it is. Here's our leverage of $27 trillion GDP to leverage countries that have a $1 or $2 trillion GDP with tariffs, knowing full well that we can absorb a lot more tax and tariff damage, because that's what a tariff is. So now we got to deal with Canada today. So hopefully we'll have good news there as well. I think Trudeau is going to be stubborn because he's not very good for his country to begin with. But he'll have to learn the hard way. I can tell you that Canada is not doing what it's supposed to with the border. And a lot of people are like, well, only 5% of the immigration problem comes in from Canada. Well, that's 5%. That should be 0%. And it's 5% because Canada is not doing anything about it. They're just allowing it. They also bring in a lot of Chinese and illegals into Canada. They actually fly them in, like Biden was doing. After they came here, we distributed them around the country, but Canada just flies them in. What a scam they have going up there. So anyway, I'm going to turn the camera around. Hi everybody. Hope you're all doing okay. I got you on the end of my selfie stick. So we're going to do some walking today. 6 miles. And we have the Thorn Crag across over there. Pretty cool, huh? And, pretty nice place this time of year. Probably should stop in there sometime. Not today though. Now later this evening we're supposed to have some rain, which is kind of mystifying me because it's about 33, 34 right now, and it's not going to get any warmer. So I can't imagine that rain is just going to be regular rain. I would think it's going to be freezing rain, perhaps being a little messy with a mix kind of thing. The kind of stuff that coats the windshield of your vehicle with ice and your steps and sidewalks and everything else. So anyway, the Trump presidency has been awesome. Apparently there's a lot of people in government right now nervous for their jobs, and they should be. If they got on board with the bureaucratic, liberal, leftist nonsense from the previous administration, then they deserve to be fired, because they did things to people they shouldn't have. And they knew that, but they didn't think Trump was going to win. And they did everything they could to make sure he wouldn't. So things are getting cleaned up. It's going to be ugly, but it's necessary and has to be done. We're going to cut, I think we've already cut about $1 trillion in wasted spending already. That's $1 trillion a year wasted spending. It's all adding to the deficit, the trillions in debt. So this has to be done. Nobody else had the wherewithal or the guts to do it. President Trump is doing it. It's what we voted for, more importantly. That's what people need to understand. We voted for this chaos. Put it in perspective, you know, like your own household. Let's say you have some kind of household emergency financially, and you have to change things to fix it. And there's really no way around it. You and I don't have the luxury of just printing more money, which is what the Treasury has been doing. It's like, okay, well, instead of dealing with the problem, we'll just print more money. And on its face, that's a stupid policy to have, because it's automatic. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. You could be somebody of low IQ that never graduated from high school. Not to say that people who haven't graduated from high school aren't low IQ. I'm just saying it doesn't take a genius to figure out that if the problem is causing you to not have money, printing more money is not going to solve the problem. That is a new problem. So if somebody had said, no, we're not going to print more money, the problems we have now financially would have been taken care of by default, because we'd have to, just like you would have to in your house. You either have to get 2 jobs. If you got 2 vehicles, you sell one of them. That sort of thing. You make it work. And our government doesn't do that. They just print more money. And that's not working anymore. That's getting to be too dangerous. So, you get the gist of that. So we're going to fix all that. The real problem is going to be, you have to go through a little bit of pain to get some gain. And the media is going to pounce on that like pigeons on popcorn. Every little thing the administration does, they're going to demonize it as something horrible. Well, this is what you guys voted for. They tried to pin the price of eggs on them. And so far, the people aren't believing it, because you shouldn't believe that. They've been lying, and, you know, they've been saying this stuff before the election. And they're going to keep doing it, because they can't help it. But that's what we got. We're going to have to put up with these people. But the Trump administration will be successful, just like they have been. For a great many other things that they never got credit for. Now we have our damn border secure. Illegals coming in are at the same level or better than when Trump was in office. So, and it's going to remain that way. And we've also upticked a lot of deportation. So this is what we voted for. The other thing was the economy, which he's doing with the tariffs. So don't let the media fearmonger you. In fact, don't even listen to them. We'll get where we need to go, folks. But anyway, I just wanted to say hi to you. Let you know things are going very well with the Trump administration. Very happy. I'm going to flip the camera around for a few minutes so you can see what I have to walk through. This is all kind of wet and slushy. It's like walking on sand in the beach. It takes more effort. They haven't come by to clean this yet, but they will. Straighten this out here. I'm all bent. I'm all bent. So we had the sun out a little while ago. It was nice. When I was cleaning snow, then of course when it's time to walk, the sun goes away, right? So we had a lot of protesters showing up in Los Angeles, here and there, protesting the new immigration policies. A lot of people that have been fear-mongered by the media, but they are targeting criminals to deport first. That's the main focus. Then, depending how that goes, we're going to get into the more serious issues of deporting people that are here illegally. A lot of people are self-deporting, meaning that they are packing up and going back to Mexico. Which is fine. If that's what you want to do for you and your family, if you're concerned about being separated. Hate that it has come to this, but it has. So democracy has spoken. This is what people voted for. It's what I voted for. And damn the Biden administration for opening the floodgates to begin with. And I really do honestly believe this was done intentionally, knowing that the illegal people that came here, even though they cannot vote now, allegedly, that because of birthright citizenship, which is probably the biggest magnet for attracting people to migrate here, because if you get pregnant and you have a baby, they automatically become a citizen, which is why President Trump signed an executive order overturning that, knowing fully that it was going to get sued and it's going to go to the Supreme Court. I honestly believe the Supreme Court is going to uphold it because that is the current law on the book, okay? That's not why Trump did that. Trump did that to change public opinion and have Congress pass legislation making it illegal. And that's what Congress needs to do. We have a majority in the Senate who should support that. The other good news is, and the reason why he did this, is something else I wanted to talk about, is the Senate looks really good for 2026. I talked about it a little bit in my previous walk. But what looks good about it is the Democrats up for re-election may end up losing their seats if they cling to this far left gender ideology, transgender ideology, and far left immigration policies, because the American people just said they don't want it. So they're going to be forced to put the money where their mouth is or drop it entirely. So that's why I say that the time has come, like a wrecking ball, to dismantle all of this foolishness that the Democrats have promoted and done to our country. It's a very big, important time for our country. I'm going to switch the camera around. And the Democrats are on the wrong side of it, like usual. So we have things we're going to take care of, either with them or without them. But I can tell you emphatically that these things are going to be done. So I'm going to watch for cars here. Right. So what's going on with that is for re-elections, it looks really good in deep red states to win re-election easily, and there's some blue areas that are going to be in trouble for Democrats, and a lot of people are thinking they're going to lose those, which they probably will. We saw 3 Democrats get upended in battleground states last election that we just had. Tester in Pennsylvania was one of them, and another one was in Montana. So there's a reckoning coming, and by no means are the Democrat seats, 2 senatorial seats in Georgia that were won in 2020, are going to be up for grabs in 2026. That would be Warnock in Georgia, which should not have won that seat to begin with, as well as John Ossoff, which is another seat that should not have been won. Neither one of them won their seats by that much. And now Georgia has clearly gone back to being a red state. And I have a feeling that Republicans just may win both of those seats back and add to our lead in the Senate. So, of course, 2026 is over a year away, but it is important that the Trump administration accomplishes their goals before then, as I have stated on my walks. But it's looking good, folks. Looking good. This is not a good time for Democrats, and it's their own fault. And if you're an angry Democrat watching this, getting angry with what I'm telling you, well, you went after the kids. You pushed transitioning children to treat mental illness. Almost all of these kids that get transitioned have single parents. They have mental issues that have nothing to do with their sex. But since this is the latest current thing, that is being pushed as an atrocity on children, they are being ruined. So puberty blocker usage is turning out to be the farce most common people with common sense knew already, and the science is now backing that up, and there's no argument left to be had by insane leftists. Leftists are destroying children, and if you went along with it, I have no sympathy for you. I don't like you as a person. You should have had common sense, and you will not be forgiven. These children now have been refused puberty, and you can't have a do-over on that. They ran a lot of propaganda. Oh, it's reversible. No, it isn't. The damage done is not reversible. You have sterilized your kids, preventing them from ever enjoying sexual function, and you've also created a lifelong medical patient. And that is documented. In fact, they will require medical care for the rest of their lives because you prevented natural puberty. And there's a lot of problems that arise from that, like an underdeveloped thyroid and other glands in the body that are needed through adulthood. And you're going to have to substitute that with hormone replacement therapy for life. So if you're a little boy transitioning to a girl, you're going to need estrogen, and you're going to need other hormone replacement. Now, if you change your mind when you get to be an adult, well, you're never going to be an adult. You're going to remain a prepubescent thing. So you're either going to have to be put on testosterone if you don't wish to be female in appearance, which will be too late. You're always going to be an adult that looks like a kid. You're going to have spine problems, rheumatoid arthritis, knee problems. You're going to have a whole host of medical issues, which include shortening your lifespan by at least 20 years. That is what the studies are showing. Because they're using a drug which was intended to chemically castrate pedophiles as well as treat people with prostate cancer. Men, okay? To help with the issues of prostate cancer. They were not intended for the use they're being used for, and damn them for going there. And if you fell for the Kool-Aid that they tried to sell in the propaganda, well, first person you should be mad at is yourself, because I researched it and knew it was Kool-Aid and propaganda, and I don't even have any kids to research that for. So that's on you, folks. As I've stated on here many times, a lot of the doctors prescribing this have been indoctrinated as well. They're just people, and a lot of the psychologists have been indoctrinated themselves, and you know who they are when you see them. They all have that stupid haircut, far left extremist progressive glasses, they look like the same people that you want to keep your kids away from. And I say that respectfully. They just look like part of the LGBT community that are activists. They don't look like normal people. So They are giving parents who are, at this point, most of the time, a single parent. There's a lack of a father in the home, and that is lending to the self-harm and mental illness that these children are experiencing. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with these kids. What I'm saying is transitioning them is wrong, and the medical professionals, many times, not all, but many times, are activists themselves. Or they are just making money. And it's up to you as a parent to research that before you give your child to them. I saw a video today where the little boy being transitioned to a girl didn't look very happy. The mother was ecstatic. She's nodding her head with the doctor, and it's like you can tell who was promoting that. And that poor kid is at the mercy of that. It's just wrong. So I don't know how else to say it. I mean, these kids have mental issues and need help. There's no arguing that. But it's not being done responsibly. They're falling prey to an ideology, neo-Marxist agenda, basically. And we need to get rid of it. We don't need to get rid of trans people. There are legitimate transsexuals. God bless them. Live your life. But stop ruining children. It should not be done as children. It's my personal opinion. Do what you want as an adult, but leave the damn children alone. That's all I was saying. So, that's a hill I will die on. Absolutely. So anyway, a lot of women are fighting the good fight. To get their sports and spaces back. And isn't it just like a Democrat where women have fought for decades for equal rights, to be respected? So what happens? The left, progressive left, comes along and tells men that they can be women and they can use women's spaces because they're women when they're not women, disrespecting and stealing rights of women. And this has come back on the Democratic Party as a political loser, as it should. As it should. So the real problem is all these corporate entities that were pushing censorship of that. Anybody like me who says anything about it gets censored, banned, blocked, punished. And we're going to see if this is still safe to do this or not. So, ooh, I got puddles. But somebody has to speak up for the kids, you know? Somebody has to. So anyway, I'm going to flip the camera around because my arm's getting tired. I do hope you're having a good day. And this is pretty sloppy to walk in. I have to admit, I'm not enjoying this today. But spring will be coming soon enough. And a good way to get there is to just suck it up and do it. It's not 10 degrees or 15 degrees today, so I should take advantage of it, and I am. 34 feels like 50 to you guys elsewhere, where it's still a little cool, but right now I have a really good sweat going. I didn't sleep all I wanted to last night, so that's not helping either. But we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it, damn it. I'm gonna have to tie my right shoe pretty soon. I don't know why it's always the right one that unties. Very peculiar. Go up through here, climb over the snowbank. See that? I'm gonna go over to that bench that's over here. And I'm gonna retie my boot. I'll do both of them. I'll have to clean off a spot on this bench. There we go. Look at that. All right, I'll be right back, folks. Hello, I'm back. Tied my boots. Shake the snow off. Continue on our way. Coming up on 3 miles shortly. We're halfway through. So, I'd like to hear your opinions on sharing your opinion about the Trump presidency thus far, 2 weeks in. It's only been 2 weeks, I get it. Not really enough to judge anything yet, really, unless you're in the media. But we did get Mexico to supply 10,000 soldiers to guard the border, which is what Trump wanted. And he was going to have a headache from this new president of Mexico. She's a socialist. She is no fan of Trump at all. But she listened to reason. She realized Trump wasn't screwing around. She looked at the math. Let me switch this around here. She obviously looked at the books, the math, the income, the cost of operating as Mexico with tariffs on. And I think Trump told her, said, look, if you don't do this, it's going to go from 25% to 50%. I haven't found out the details yet of that. But that's what he said he was going to do. So that's what he said he was going to do with these countries that don't want to comply. Because like I stated, we have a $27 trillion GDP, which now our national debt has exceeded our GDP for the first time in our history. And throughout history, when that's happened to countries, not one single one of them has ever survived as a country. That includes the old Soviet Union, which is now the new Russia. And that also includes the Roman Empire, the Turkish Empire. All these other empires had to rely on their military to keep their territories and police them. And that's expensive. A great example of it is the British Empire. At one time, Britain pretty much had conquered most of the world, colonized everywhere. And, you know, they were very successful. But you have to maintain it once you do it. So there were a lot of reasons for that were non-financial. I'm just saying, you know, the United States is the most powerful economy in the world, and we're destroying it stupidly. And we finally have sane people in the White House, and that's going to change. I think the American people have figured it out. So we're going to ride this puppy. We are going to ride this puppy, and all these old Democrat strategists have all failed miserably. You know, a lot of people hold up people like James Carville as some pioneering genius for Democrats. Well, he had some success in the 90s. He's been riding his fame ever since. But what if they won under leadership like his? All the problems we have right now stem from Obama. All of them. The economy, jobs going away overseas, this progressive far-left extremism, which has gotten worse, which is neo-Marxism. Okay, make no mistake. It's not outright Marxism, but it's neo-Marxism. Just like when you say somebody's a neo-Nazi, they're not Nazis, but they're neo-Nazis. Similar ideologies. So DEI is a problem, and Obama started that. He started that with, remember, affirmative action. It's the same thing. It's making sure you have a certain amount of women in your workplace, a certain amount of gays, a certain amount of blacks, a certain amount of Asians, Hispanics, Latino, etc., so on, to the point where the company is so focused on that they aren't doing the best they could do as a company, because you had to tell people that were more qualified they couldn't have the job. And it's very simple logic. I just don't understand why it has to be politicized. So, good news is American people are figuring that out. We're going to get past this point in our history and make it history, gone in the past. And we need to get back. We need to get back to being a country again, right? America divided will not stand. United we stand, divided we fall. It's always been that way. They use the racism as a tool to divide. We don't do that. And, you know, people need to understand there's a difference between an immigrant and an illegal alien. There's a difference between a transsexual and someone practicing transgender ideology. Two different things. One is acceptable, one is not acceptable. So, a transsexual, a real one, minds their own business and behaves like a normal person, because that's what they want. They want to be normal. They want to blend. They don't want to stick out. They don't want blue hairs and jewelry in their face and a nose ring saying, screaming, Trump sucks every 10 minutes, and, you know, you're a transphobe, you're a this, you're a racist, you know, people are tired of that. Those people are not genuine. They're actually giving the LGBT community a bad name. Just like these criminal illegals coming here are giving legitimate immigrants a bad name. It's the same thing. We want people to come here legally. Come here all you want. Bring something you can offer the country, become a citizen, and enjoy the rights and benefits of being an American. There isn't one Republican telling people not to do that. And of course the left has to take that and turn it into, well, if you don't agree with, you know, these illegals that came here, then you're a bigot, you're a xenophobe, you're a this. It's like the American public's had it up to here with that. I think that's gone now. Feels like it anyway. And it's now officially politically toxic for Democrats. They're going to keep losing as long as they keep doing that. And I think they're figuring that out. The TV news networks pushing that have fallen down lower than the toilet. They're at the bottom of the gutter, never mind being in the gutter. And you know, they're going to have to change. Right now, I'm guessing about maybe 25% of the public even wants to entertain anything about that stuff. That's a minority. That means 3/4 of the country does not want it. All of the polling shows that. There's a large percentage of Democrats that want the transitioning of children ended. They don't support it. And they don't feel safe in their cities because all the illegal immigration let in. Because when people come in legally, they can be vetted to make sure they're not a serial killer or a serial rapist or a child rapist. And that's what has been coming in. Many immigrants coming here are great people, wonderful. But unfortunately, a lot of them are not, and it was left unchecked. And I think it was done intentionally by Democrats, because they feel through birthright citizenship that they're going to create a whole bunch of new Democrat voters to maintain power forever. As crazy as it sounds, I really think that's what they did. And it's not just one specific group, it's the donors, these mega donors, billionaires who have a vision for America, and that's what they wanted. They told these politicians, I'm going to donate to your campaigns, but you have to promote having open borders. If you have to do that by saying you're not promoting it, but doing things to make it happen, then so be it, that'll be fine. And I really think that is what they did. And I gotta tell you right now, if we did not have the Constitution of the United States, we would already be a socialist state, very similar to Canada. And I love you Canadians, I really do, but they stole your country from you. I don't know if you're gonna get it back. I hope you do. Pierre Poilievre, hope I'm pronouncing his name right. You guys got a chance with him, but I'm not totally convinced he's not part of the system. You know, we've had a lot of that in this country in the past. False conservatives say what they need to get elected, and then once in there, it's like more of the same, but in a slightly different way. So, I hope you guys get a legitimate leader. And right now the Liberals in Canada are trying to find somebody to replace Trudeau with that can beat Pierre. The problem the left has right now is they can't go back on what they promoted, because they've already convinced all their people this is the right virtuous thing to do. You can't just turn around and say transitioning children is wrong, because now they're going to have to use policy, because they can't say anything that agrees with what Republicans or the conservative right says, because now they don't have any political leverage with it. And they're losing political leverage with their voters anyway. As we see a skeleton across the street with a red scarf. So that's why I said the other day on my walk that the Democrats are in a tough spot. They really are. Because they've created this whole bubble of virtue signaling and all that. They've been doing it for 30 years. And now it's crashing because it's no good. It's not good. They made a big mistake. They've ruined their party. And if there's, you know, a liberal watching this and you're rolling your eyes, now you have. Look at the polling. Look at the latest Gallup. Trump is more popular than he has been yet. Conservatism is as well in the country, especially among independents. So that's a growing demographic of independent base, and they're leaning conservative. So you guys are in trouble, big time, big time. I don't think you'll get out of it. The way I look at it is Barack Obama got elected, and within 2 years of him being in office with his crazy progressive ideas, he lost the House. You guys didn't get the House back until recently. Then you lost it again, because you spent 2 years going after Donald Trump instead of doing what you should be doing. And then you did the Inflation Reduction Act, which actually raised inflation. All this money, nobody knows where it went. You know, it subsidized windmills and solar panels, and you know, it's all wasteful bullshit spending. It doesn't accomplish anything, and it just made us broke, and it raised the price of your food at the grocery store. That's what you voted for. So yesterday Trump signed a big executive order deregulating the energy sector even more, to increase energy production so we can get more energy going. And over time that will lower prices of things. Inflation will tick down. It'll be slow, but inflation will tick down. A year from now, it'll be much better. So, you know, it took a year, year and a half, 2 years for Biden and his administration to really screw everything up. So it's going to take a year or two to unscrew it. So, we'll get there though. Now we have a midterm election next year, so the media is not going to be friendly to Trump or us. They're going to make everything look bad, because they're going to say, look, prices are still high. They won't be as high as they were, but it's going to take a little while to get this stuff down. So Trump has to offer something to people. He has to do something to get prices down, at least somewhere. Getting the price of fuel down would go a long way for people. That's a big part of people's paychecks. Getting to work every day. especially in places where they got to drive 20 miles to work. That's expensive. It adds up. So we'll get there. Now we're going to turn over here, and about a half mile down this way, just off to the side, is where we had that mass shooting here, 2023. What a horrible day that was. Goodness. Which reminds me of the next segment I'm going to come to. It has to do with the state of Maine here. Gun legislation. It looks like pretty much everybody is in agreement at this point that we're not going to see any major gun legislation passed in this session, just because the Democrats have lost seats here in both chambers, and the governor of the state, progressive Democrat, is losing popularity. She's talking about raising taxes, pissing everybody off, and she's making people angry because she already raised taxes. So this is her second term. We have 6-year terms here in Maine for the governor. So she's been governor for 7 years, and we got another 5 years left with her. So she's a progressive. She did veto some things that were a little too crazy progressive, because the people that were in power in both chambers of the government here in the legislature were passing some crazy things, crazy far left stuff. Now, she should have vetoed what I call the trans trafficking bill, and she didn't do that, so she hurt her party with that, and now that's blowing up in all the Democrats' faces, and I'll bet you she wishes she could go back and veto that. It's basically a sanctuary bill where states that have made it illegal to transition children, you can bring them to Maine, and Maine will do it. And there's also a stipulation in the legislation they passed that law enforcement will be forced to not extradite a minor who came here to transition. And they also stuck it in there where the minor does not have to notify the parents if they don't want to. So that has not been popular with people. And they couldn't get it passed when they first tried it. They couldn't get it passed until they shoved abortion in it as well. Abortion care. As soon as they got that in there, they got enough women on board to support it. So that also means if a minor from out of state gets impregnated as a minor by an adult, which is a crime, it's illegal. Raping kids is a crime. They can come to Maine and get an abortion, and the law stipulates there's no questions asked. So that means somebody that has possession of a minor that they're abusing sexually gets pregnant, well, we'll just bring the kid to Maine and get an abortion. Ooh, right? That is how sick and pathetic that is. Republicans had threatened to sue over it, and apparently because it was passed into law, there's no grounds to stand on with it. So I don't know where that lawsuit went. I don't know if it has plans on advancing and getting to the Supreme Court at some day. I haven't looked in on it lately, but I can tell you nobody's talking about it anymore because of the election that we just had. It kind of buried it. But Democrats want to know why they're losing, because of things like that. It's laws being passed because they feel that's how things should be, rather than is it constitutional. Whose rights does it violate? You know, parents have custody of their kids. They live in another state. That kid makes it to Maine, and now the parent doesn't have any rights. They do in the state that they come from, and the kid's not even a legal resident of Maine. So I don't know how legally that can even stand. It's wrong. It's inherently wrong on its face. So anyway, as far as gun legislation goes, the Democrats want to pass a red flag law, but I don't think they're going to have the votes, because I've explained it to you. Now that the Democrats have lost seats in both chambers, they barely were able to pass things last time. Certainly won't be able to this time. But Republicans won't be able to pass anything either on gun legislation, I don't think. Maybe we'll get the 72-hour wait period repealed. There is an initiative for the legislature to vote on, to have it an item for voters to vote on it, which is what they should have done. They did that with constitutional carry here, and Maine citizens wanted the right to carry firearms. And that goes both ways. You know, we had ranked choice voting. That was on the ballot. We didn't win that one, but that was democratically voted for by people, and that's what they chose. So we have to respect that. So the trans trafficking bill should have been on the ballot, and it wouldn't have passed. So that would have been on the ballot, and that wouldn't have passed here in Maine, because it's not popular. It's not popular anywhere in the country, unless you go into like New York City or California or something. So anyway, we're on the right track to fixing things, I guess is my point. People are waking up. Democrats have less power nationally. And a lot of media people online try to make light of that, like they haven't lost anything. But if you check the actual stats, like ones that the New York Times and Washington Post posted on the national map, Republicans gained in all 50 states. All of them. Even the ones that are still deep blue, Republicans gained a lot in those. And the media doesn't want to talk about it, but the Democrats lost for a reason. The reasons I have mentioned already on this walk. And they will continue to lose if they don't change their ways. And they're kind of stuck in their ways right now because they have to be. They spent so much time indoctrinating entire generations that now they can't go against it because they got all these people to believe it. And I've been seeing a lot of video online of young people not supporting this lunacy. There's a large faction of young people that get it. Looks like we got a new lost kitty. So, cat likes to hide in garages, under sheds it says. And if you see it, don't scare it. In other words, if you see it, just call the number. Somebody lost their kitty. Excuse me. So hope you're enjoying today's walk. Old dog there, he's kicking the snow. It's okay, little Toto. All right, we'll have a left-hand turn up ahead here. Right. Somebody driving a Tesla. Starting to see a lot more Teslas. Just hit 4 miles. Two more miles to go, plus. I never record the last half mile to 3/4 miles of my walk to protect the location of the bat cave. We are going to turn the corner here. To find my sidewalk. There we go. This is what they do to open the sidewalks up here. You can see the tracks from the machine that went through here and did this. But a lot of times what they do is they'll make one pass, and then tomorrow or the day after, they'll come by and make another pass, which gets it down to the sidewalk. Because I was actually asked by somebody watching my walks, how do they get it right down to the tar? Well, that's how. Right now, it's not down to the tar. And they'll make another pass. And then the sunshine will do the rest on those dark spots that appear. And it absorbs the sun and it melts the snow and ice. So right now my lower back feels fatigued, and it feels fatigued because it's not used to walking. Because I have not been walking enough because of the weather. That license plate says Pit Boss. Look at that car, an old Cadillac. This place regularly has old cars on the lot, and they fix them up. And I think a lot of them end up at the local racetrack in something called an enduro race. And basically you enter just a regular car. Has to have a little bit of safety in it installed, like a roll cage and stuff. But you basically drive in this race until your car dies. That would be at Oxford Plains Speedway here in Maine. which is actually involved in professional racing as well as amateur. They have a drag strip there also for drag racing. I believe it's a quarter mile. About 18 miles from here. Yep, so now the weather for the next week or so, as far as I can tell, I got about maybe one day I'll be walking out of those 7. It's going to get cold again. Then we're going to have some mixed weather, bad weather, and walking on sloppy stuff is not fun or easy. And I would just rather wait till everything melts and start getting back into the swing of walking pretty much daily. Get my stamina back. So I've lost some of my stamina. Now my last walk, I was nice and fresh. I had a full night's sleep. That was excellent. But before, when I didn't have a full night's sleep, I'd just be fine. So I have lost some stamina. I haven't lost all stamina. Look at this mess. I'm definitely going to come by and do another pass on the sidewalks. I will give the city credit. This year they've been doing a great job clearing sidewalks. I mean, it just snowed last night and they've already had machinery on it, and you can't ask for better than that, really. So we'll walk our way back. Whew. Around. I'm going to be have to change the battery shortly. We'll do that when the computer's out. So hope you're enjoying the walk today. My back right now, to be honest with you, the muscles feel very tired. Coming up on 5 miles, and I'm thinking I should have done a 5-mile walk today, which would have been fine, right? still a good walk. I always do at least 5. So I could still be proud of it. But now I gotta walk the rest of it to get where I'm going, because I have to. So my lower back is saying, stop, stop, stop it, I don't want to. And we're gonna keep going. And we just hit 4.5 miles. Up ahead here, I'll change the battery. Right? So she loves the snow. Oh, don't you just love small talk? People being neighborly, though. When you're done over there, you could come over here and do my house. Oh. So you have a good sidewalk over here because they've already done it twice. See that? That's what I was talking about. And they did that because there's a school around the corner. You got kids and parents that walk on here. All right, about now the battery's going to go out. So I'm going to change it right now. Be right back, folks. There we go. A fresh battery in here. Take us through the last part of the walk. I'll walk through this slush. Yuck. That's the other thing too, walking with my boots instead of walking with my sneakers. If I was with sneakers, my feet would be soaked and wet and miserable and frozen already. Got a couple things coming in the mail today. A new stylus needle for the turntable, one of the turntables. I got a whole bunch of extra stylus needles anyway. But this was a really good sale on one specific one because I got about 4 or 5 different cartridges. 2 of the cartridges I have all kinds of replacement for, but one of the cartridges I have, actually 2 of them, need a stylus replacement. All right, head on up here. The other problem I have today, by the way, is now we only had a couple inches of snow, but I shoveled the property by hand before going on this walk. So I've already expended energy doing that, which might be contributing to my lower back tightening up right now. But we have a snow machine, snow thrower, and I only use it when it's above 3 inches of snow. And if we get just 3 inches and it's wet, heavy snow, I use it. But light, fluffy snow like it was today, I just used a it's kind of a push scoop. It's like a snow plow type thing. Really good for light snow. Only takes about a half hour, 45 minutes to do the property where people park, or I park, I should say, and one other person. But it's our house. All right, now watch the cars coming over the hill here. I'm watching for that person not paying attention. I don't have any sidewalks here at all. Now we just hit 5 miles. So this time I'm going to stay on this side of the road when the car's coming towards me. If the snow wasn't on the ground, I'd cross the street. But any time that I have to walk on the side of the road because there's no sidewalks, I always want the traffic facing me. think for supper I'll make some pasta. Some pasta. Pasta alla vista. Pasta alla vista, baby. Get back, I'll drink some liquids, then I'll have a nice hot coffee, have a nice hot shower, and I'll make some supper. Always watching these cars, always, always, always. Coming up on 5.5 miles now. We'll walk a little more and I'll sign off with you. Somebody broke the sign. It said Thorn Craig, now it just says N Craig, or half an N. Pretty sure they'll fix it. It's too bad too, because that sign's been there for years, but it looks like the wood rotted and finally gave out. Probably in a windstorm we had. Anyway, a little bit. There we go. So we had a little bit better weather today. Decided to do the kind of selfie view. Keep an eye on cars coming while I talk to you. And I want to thank you very much for watching with me today. remember to click like and subscribe, share the content, and remember that the mainstream media is going to try all kinds of tricks. Trump did that executive order about freezing government funds, and the media did what they always do. They fear-mongered everybody like their food stamps and Social Security were going to stop, which was never the case. But I think the Trump administration made a note of that and said, yeah, okay, well, you're going to have to be completely transparent before you do something to make sure that message gets out. That's why you have a press secretary and you have a White House media center. So I'm sure that'll be fine in the future. So anyway, friends, until the next walk, like I said, click like and subscribe. Give your thanks to the Lord. Say a prayer for the country and Donald Trump and his administration. God bless you and your family. And we'll see you on the next walk, as the 5.5 mile mark just went off in my ear, but I'm actually going to be walking 6.5. So we will say goodbye until next walk, everybody. Thanks a lot for walking with me. See you soon. Bye-bye. Stay safe, have fun, and enjoy the Trump presidency. It's a lot of fun.